is losing by over 20 points a positive, and is just giving lots of effort enough? Let's have a chat about it. My name's Christian and this is the Welsh Sports Podcast. So in fairness, Ireland did end up running out comfortable winners in the end. It was at 31-7, but you can't say they had it their own way. It wasn't like a game of two halves. Ireland dominated large parts of the game. I think it was more of a game of 2/3 and a third. Ireland had definitely the first like half an hour. Then Wales sort of had that middle period, either side maybe of half time, and then Ireland come back in the end and sort of just tie it all off and just show their pure class. In fairness, Ireland pretty much had control that whole first half. Their scrum was completely dominant. They were having a little bit of an issue at line out. I don't think Dan Sheehan threw one straight line out, even though he didn't get called for a not straight once. I thought that was a bit ridiculous. But yeah, Wales were brilliant in defence, you have to say. There was a lot of courage. It was the tackling. The maul defence was good, but the tackling was superb. They were letting Ireland run their patterns in front of them and then waiting to commit to the tackle. And the tackling was really good, you have to say. The first like half hour, they were sort of Ireland were having a bit of an armchair ride, and Wales were just sort of clinging on. We basically had no possession for that first 30 minutes. I think we had like 20-25% possession up till about the half hour mark, which is crazy in international rugby. All of the territory was in Wales's territory, but we did hold out for long periods of time, and I think definitely Mike Forshaw deserves a lot of credit for. He's clearly identified the best way to defend this Ireland team. Having said that, they still scored 31 points, but Wales did put on a brave performance in defence. The disappointing thing, particularly in that first half, was the discipline by Wales. It's not something we've seen this tournament. The discipline has actually been really, really good. But up until like the 20-minute mark, I think they'd given away 6 or 7 penalties, which is not good enough. And against a team like Ireland, I understand Ireland are putting the pressure on, so it makes it easier to infringe. We were infringing at the scrum as well. But yeah, that was something that we hadn't seen previously in the performances. And yeah, that was really putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. Also, when we were having the very few opportunities to attack, we were giving away stupid little things. The one Dav Jenkins latches on, it comes to mind. Also, Nick Tompkins just passing a little lifted pass to basically no one. It was like a little things when we actually had an opportunity and they were few and far between. We were actually infringing, and Ireland were having quite a good time at ruck. They were slowing a lot of our ball down, and we were struggling. It felt like we weren't getting enough numbers to the ruck. Aki was literally causing havoc. He was just slowing our ball down, stealing it constantly. He did give away maybe 1 or 2 penalties, but there was, to me, we were having too many one-up runners when we did have the ball, and they were getting isolated. And Ireland are really brilliant in that ruck area, brilliant over the ball and brilliant at slowing it down, and that really caused us a lot of issues, particularly in that first half. The second half, though, Wales came out and offered a little bit more, especially that first 5 minutes. They had a little bit of a jolt up the backside, and they came out and they were actually trying to force things on Ireland a bit more. Win It in particular was looking good, and we actually managed to keep the ball and go through some phases which we hadn't managed to do, and the pressure was actually telling on Ireland. They started giving away penalties. They gave away a penalty. Costello puts, you have to say, a brilliant kick into the corner, and Wales end up getting a line out in the corner and mauling over, and Alex Mann thought he was in for his third international try in 3 caps, but it was infringed by Tag Burn, and we actually get another penalty try, which is, I think it's been 3 years here so far, this tournament, which is crazy. The driving maul has actually been our best, if not our only real weapon. So that's a positive, because that's something we haven't had for a while. Elliot D, the line out when Elliot D is in there is just so much more assured than anyone else we've got at the moment. And I thought he had a really, really good day today. He's just so busy, and you notice him, he's got a real appetite for work, so he can be happy with his afternoon's work. And so there, Wales then, within the first 5 minutes, is 17-7, and you think, well, we're back in the game here. Let's put a bit of pressure on Ireland. And to be fair, the boys really did try. There was like a crazy period where it had to be about 5 minutes of ball in play, and both teams were getting the ball, but the defence was just so much on top. Both teams were attacking, and you could see that the boys were out there puffing because the ball wasn't going dead. It was just going back and forth, but no one was able to break anyone down, especially Wales weren't really able to cause Ireland much problems. I think once we've done a set move or we've had like an attempt at the maul, once we have to start going through phases is something we've struggled with. In the World Cup, I thought we looked really good, particularly off the first and second phase moves, and then we still looked dangerous as play went on. But at the moment, if that first move doesn't get us some good territory, we're not really creating anything, and that is a slight concern. That's been something that's happened in basically every game. That Scotland game is a bit is on his own because it was a crazy second half, but in the first half it was the same thing. But we've looked a little bit blunt, which is slightly worrying, and I think it's just due to the lack of big ball carriers. I thought when North had some carries, he was actually breaking tackles. They were swarming him, but he was actually managing to make yards and stuff. And that was the same in the England game. I just don't think we managed to get the ball to him that much in the England game either. But yeah, that's a bit of a concern. Just the lack of penetration, and once it breaks down, there's no one. It seems like there's no one taking control and starting the attack again. Anyway, after that long period of play where it was a bit back and forth, Wales have quite a few opportunities amongst that and just after it, but Ireland end up taking control of the game again. They get their grip on it. They go down the field. There's a lot of good defence from Wales, but the phases and the ball retention so good from Ireland. They end up scoring. I think Aki scored under the post, and then they brought it back for a knock-on previously from Henshaw, which I thought was a bit harsh because even on the replay, it didn't look like it went forward, but you take what you can when you're in the position we are, and we were sort of just still in the game, but the fact that we'd been attacking for so long and got nothing off it, I think that took the wind out of the sails a bit, and Ireland then just carry on being patient and keep their patterns, and eventually, after some really good defence, you have to say, the fullback scores. And I thought, I'm a little bit worried now because that was their third try. They were obviously going for the bonus point, and I thought after all of the attack, we were going to drop our heads, and there was clearly a lot of tired bodies out there. The effort was just amazing in defence and in attack, but I thought, oh, this is going to be a bit of a rout now if we're not careful and let it get away from us. But you have to say, if there is one thing about this Welsh team, they might be very inexperienced, they might struggle to create chances, but they've got a lot of guts, a lot of heart, and a lot of balls, and they just did not give up. They just kept pounding. They kept trying things. The forwards worked so hard, carrying, hitting rucks. The scrum actually sorted out a bit when Dylan Lewis came on, to be fair. Or maybe that was because Porter had gone off and he was scrummaging illegally, I don't know. But yeah, they were very unlucky because Wainwright goes over and he's held up. And I think that would have been like a good reward for their hard work. And I think they deserved it because they at no point did they, even though we were clearly out of the game pretty much, they didn't drop their standards and they didn't drop the effort. And I think that's something that they can be proud of and we can be proud of as fans and as the coaches looking on. But unfortunately, we just lack that killer, I don't know whether it's the creativeness or someone to take control. I'm not sure what it is at the moment, but we're just lacking that killer pass or whatever. But the effort is unquestionable. Unfortunately, right at the end, the 80th minute, Byrne goes over for Ireland's fourth. You have to say they deserved it. They kept going all the way through, same as Wales, and it was they deserved the bonus point, in fairness. It was a shame for Wales because the effort didn't drop from right till the last minute. But yeah, Ireland get the bonus point. So is there any positives from losing by over 20 points and losing our previous two games? And you have to say yes, there is. Now, don't get me wrong, there's only so long this plucky losers is going to last for. Eventually, we are going to have to start winning some games. But where Ireland are to where we are in our journey, they're probably the best team, if not the second best team in the world. We're nowhere near that at the moment. We're a very, very young squad. You still got to think, even though Cameron Winnett was brilliant again, third cap. I mean, but he looks like he's been playing international rugby for 4 or 5 years. He's amazing. That's one of the bright sparks. Again, man, put in a really, really good, solid workman-like performance. He gets through a lot of unseen stuff. The rucks, the tackling, his carrying with his footwork is getting better. It's definitely got better from the start of the season when he was playing for Cardiff. Then you had Mackenzie Martin coming off the bench and doing pretty good, to be fair. Had a couple of good carries. The scrum was a bit not that good today, which is unfortunate because it's looked alright the last two games. But the line out was good. You say we've got really good really good second rows. Beard was one of his better games today. I really thought he had a really good game, and then when Rowlands came on, he made an impact. Dav Jenkins was just an absolute workhorse the whole way through. Thomas Williams was actually superb today. That was one of his better games in a losing effort. Costello, he was quiet. We didn't have a lot of front football, so it's hard. I think he was solid without doing too much. North carried hard. I think Tompkins has regressed. I'd like to know what you guys think. Anyone who's watched this channel for a while knows that I was quite critical before the World Cup of Tompkins, and he sort of changed my mind. I got a feeling he's going back to the player I didn't like before, but I'd like to know what you think about that one. Adams was actually pretty good today, I thought, without getting many opportunities, and Dyer, the effort is 1,000,000% as ever, and he always looks like he's going to break a tackle. But I'm pretty happy with that performance. I don't think Ireland were there for the taking today, but I think we did a lot better than they were expecting. I thought, they kicked the first penalty and then they just started kicking for the corner because they were in total ascendancy. And the fact that we have got into these positions where we're losing or the complete momentum is against us and we're not dropping our heads and we're still keeping in the fight and coming back, that's going to instill belief, and that's a positive for us to look at. The only thing that I start to worry about now is if we don't get a win, it's all well and good being good in defeat, but you've got to start picking up wins, and then the team needs to start to learn how to get a win. Everyone's probably looking at that Italy game and saying, that's a game we got to win, which we have. But I think we need to look at the France game and think, if we can walk away from this Six Nations with 3 decent performances, even though we lost, 2 games, one against Scotland, one against England, that we should have won, really. Okay, Ireland beat us comfortably, fair enough, but we didn't get humiliated. We were sort of in the game for parts of it. I genuinely think we can target that France game. If we cut out these stupid mistakes, like another one was Rafael stepping into the line out to lift when he'd stepped too far out. That was like a set move from the training ground, so they must have known that was going to be an issue. Like things like these can be ironed out, like the stuff not latching, getting isolated. Like things like that can be worked out on the training pitch, and experience is a big thing for not doing these stupid mistakes that we're currently doing, and we're such an inexperienced team, then you can understand it. But I think France are there for the taking. They're not the same without Dupont, clearly. Obviously they're still a really good team, but we can target that game. at home, we can beat them. And if we manage to beat them, it gives us a lot of momentum to go into the Italy game. And then if we finish the competition with 2 wins, having had 3 decent performances prior, having blooded all these youngsters, that's been a really good Six Nations to me. So, to answer my initial question, is there positives coming out of this game? Yes, there is. If France come to Cardiff and hammer us, no, there isn't. But let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.